hope you're having a great day today. It is a new day here in the Maryon household, so it's been a good week for me. I've enjoyed my week. I have not been in my kitchen very much at all this week. Everybody else is making food. I'm like, I was talking to Greg. I'm like, I think I can get used to this. Like everybody else making food, and food always tastes better when someone else makes it, even though it's your recipes. I'm like, wow, they taste a whole lot better. And so I like my cooking, but it's the same recipe, same food, but it's always nice when someone else makes it themselves. So it's been good. So I haven't had to do a whole lot out there in my kitchen. The house is, we're pretty much cleaning up every day, so it's staying really clean. Haven't had to do a whole lot, which is good, but I did want to do a video because I promised you a video every day. And sometimes like today, I'm like, okay, it's like we slept in and we've had time to swim in the pool and be outside because it's sunny and nice today. And then taking a little break here before the nighttime hour in our home. But what I've been doing today, like the little bit of time that I had, is been working on my school stuff for my kids. So this has been our homeschooling. We'll be homeschooling for how many years? I don't even know. It's been a long time. Homeschooling all my kids' life. So been homeschooling for a long time. And so so many times over the years, I've like got around other moms, and you get the homeschooling. You're like, oh, homeschool your kids, especially nowadays with the way everything is in the schools and the agendas they're pushing, all of that. And I think more and more are turning to homeschooling options. And I know when everything happened and the kids were forced out of school, forced to do homeschool, it was like overwhelming for a lot of parents. And I kept telling a lot of the parents that were like, well, I just want to keep my kids home. I want to do things. And I said, well, you have to remember, when they were doing their school at home, it was still like public school. I said, so it's completely different than how you're going to do it homeschooling. And I always say, whenever you start homeschooling or thinking about doing homeschooling, don't get into that mindset of like it has to look like a structured public school system, because homeschool is not. It's so different. My one good friend, when I first started a long time ago with Ashlyn, she said to me, because I was like so frustrated because we were doing worksheets, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it just didn't seem to be flowing right. Some days we do good and then we'd fall apart that next day. And she said, you just gotta get used to being home. Like, just get used to being home. And I'm like, what? Don't do anything, just get used to being home. But I see that was probably the best thing that I could have done. And it also worked for me in the years that followed when I had baby after baby after baby. And some years it was just so busy and crazy. And I was like, how am I going to get everything done? So I just took some time off. And then, you know what? We just did a little bit more later on that year, or the next year we covered a topic we didn't cover. And so, eventually it all does catch up. I tell moms after moms after moms, every time I see them and they stress out about school and they think they got to do this. If the kid doesn't learn this by this grade and they don't do this by this grade, they're going to be a failure for life. And I said, that is so not true. So not true. You've got to get out of the mindset of you got to be able to do this in 4th grade. You got to do this in 6th grade. You got to do this in 7th grade. And just go, you know what? Let's take my child where they're at and teach them where they're at in their level. And you know what? As they grow and mature and their brains grow, they'll catch on to things and learn. If you're providing a healthy, good environment for them and, giving them the tools, they will eventually learn to do those things. And so I over and over and over, because I remember even raising boys and girls, and I had one, that loved doing the books and loved doing textbooks and loved doing all the questions and doing it. And I had boys that came along and they just did not want to do any of that. I'm like, how are they going to even function in life, And so another person just said, teach them how they learn, do what they do. Don't worry about sitting them down at a desk all day long. Get them hands-on, get them things that are going to interest them and that they're going to be able to do well in. And I did. And some of them waited for a few years to catch up with others on different topics. And that might be as far as reading, that might be as far as writing, that might be different in math facts, all those things. So it's like they do all get it. And the reason why I know this is because when I've had friends that have children from other countries, when they come here and they haven't had education at all, and they start doing, let's say they put them in elementary school. Well, you can get a course that covers all the things they have to know in elementary school and take it for 1 year. And they'll be fine. They might struggle with a few things, but you just keep working on those things over and over. Same thing in middle school. Same thing with high school. You can go your entire life and not do anything and just take one course and be able to understand that and keep on it and learn those things. And I also remember watching another family way back in the day, and they their kids are all grown up, successful adults, and they didn't do any book work at all. And I thought, oh my goodness, you mean you didn't do a textbook? You didn't do any of that stuff? And their kids all did fine. They all have their own businesses. They all are successful at things. They never took never had to diagram sentences for English, never had to do a written test on anything. But you know what? When they got older, And one of them, they'd shown that one had went to a college to take a test so they could get into it. They scored just fine in those classes. Or, if they had something for work, they did amazing on the thing because they were taught more diligence and keeping at things and not giving up and just kind of pushing through and learning how to do those things. And they did great. It's like the unschooling approach. I know there's a very lapsed unschooling, just like Christianity. There's a real conservative and there's a real opposite of that. And so you have both. Same thing with unschooling. You have some that are completely free-loving parents and some that are super strict parents. But if you can find that balance in between and teach your kids that way, it's an amazing, amazing road. It takes off the stress and it makes it so much better. So I know for our family, we have 4 that'll be doing school, and so they're all in their middle school, high school years, which is awesome. And so for us, it's like we really focus and hone in on the skills that they want to improve. So today I brought different ones down here at different times, and we sat around and we kind of talked about things they want to improve on, things that I saw that, okay, what if we work on this a little bit more this year, and what if we do a little bit of this? And they were all like, okay. So just getting their input on what is going to work for them. I do have a curriculum on my website, and it's free. You can go there. I plug it because it's free. There's nothing you have to pay. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. But it gives you the basics for that grade level. And if your child, you don't know what grade level they're at, look at the workbook a little bit and kind of see, well, maybe not that grade level. Pull it back a year. I know I've had a child where one of them, I had him pull back a few years and did it, and then you know what? They caught up really quick over the next couple of years, and they're at the level they're supposed to be at. So don't stress if you get the 6th grade book and your child's not at 6th grade level. I don't include reading in that book because I feel like every kid is at a different level, and if you get reading comprehension, I have stuff on my blog too, on their own where they're at for reading and stuff like that. But look at it and go, okay, they'll do really well here, and if not, then go back a level and go, okay, this is the workbooks are designed to be very basic. Keep it simple. You could do 1 or 2 books a year. You can even do 3 books a year if you did more and more work. But we just did 1 page a day in each subject, and that gave us enough for the school year that way. So we were talking about doing that, and then I had a couple that had to work on a few extra things, so we found a bunch of workbooks online for things I was just looking at other ones here. I was just looking at some that I got for a couple last year. These are nice workbooks. We really like workbooks because they have a lot of extra problems in them. Like in my curriculum, they'll have a word like this, like a word problem. I might just do 1 or 2, and that's it. And that's where they study from. This gives you 7, a whole nother page right here on each page, and they can do more and more work of it. And for myself, since printing is more expensive, I used to have a really cheap printer that could print everything. Sometimes getting a workbook for $10 is worth it for the paper and just to have all those things. And so I know like this will be put to use by a couple kids that wanted more work with that. There's also, they have that, the 100 days, they have a lot for, they have like word problems. They have ones for measurement. They have ones for math facts, different things like that. So look at those kind of ones. There's also, if you just type in math, whatever grade, workbooks, there's a ton online. Like we've gone through today and found so many things on there. Even the handwriting, that was one we did last year. Print for teens, and they have cursive. We did the print and we did the cursive just to make sure that their writing was up to par. But this is nice because when you have older kids and you didn't do a lot of writing with them, like ton with when they were younger, they don't want to do the kiddie writing. And so this was nice because it's like teen based. So a lot of the stuff is like, be kind, for everyone you're meeting is fighting a battle, a hard battle. Sorry, let me read that better. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And then they copy it. They teach them how to do these things. And so it just gives a little bit more help to writing, which is good. I was looking online for other ones. They even have like the bigger letters. This is like the writing, this is for teen, but the writing lines are smaller. They had ones that are bigger in there. So if your child has needs to improve a little bit more in their writing, just more practice with letters, they have that. They're just so much, and you get it so cheap. They're like less than $10 for workbooks and things. I'm not sure how much this is, but we had gotten this last year. So different things like that. We also like doing word ladders. That was something my kids really enjoyed doing. And that was just basically, it gets a word and then like it'll give a clue and the next word builds upon that one and builds up. And they really enjoyed things like that. We like old textbooks to use for things like, we like the Abeka. The kids looked, even Autumn looked at, this is a high school, not math, it is a high school health course. And she's in high school. And so she's like, yeah, the book looks really old. I said, well, health doesn't change very much for health or history or science. It's all pretty much the same. And so we like these ones, the Abeka ones. They're older, You can get a brand new book if you want. You just spend a lot more money. But what is the copyright in this? Copyright of what? 1999. Yes, 2001. But the information is pretty much going to be the same thing in here as everywhere else. So we have things like this. We have that for their science. Again, science pretty much stays the same, especially as a Christian one. And so we get these books, and these are really good. So I know, like I think Brooke would have been the last one. She liked a lot of the science. We got a lot of the science ones now. Autumn is really likes history, and so I was going to get the world history for Rebecca textbook, and then she liked reading on that one. So you just kind of pick. We also have had middle school years where these books really, they like these ones too. The middle school study guide. This is for those kids that really enjoy a lot of stuff on the pages. Like here, these books, they have a lot of like pictures, and there's a lot going on the pages. Now I have some, and they like that. They like the busyness of the page. I have some that don't like that, and they like more. I don't even have a book over here that's just simple, and it's just black and white and word problems. And so that's how my curriculum is. And so we do that for those kids. And so based on what your child likes and does well for schooling, make sure that's a factor too. Because I know like they have this for math, they have this for English, and Autumn did these a few years ago when she was in middle school. And so she loved it because she loved the busyness of the pages, and the math has all these fun things, and she likes learning that way. But then I have another one that comes along, and she looks at it and she's like, oh, that's way too busy. I don't like that. So you just have to do what's based on their kind of learning environment, which is good. And then we also do like speed tests. We do those for school where, you fill those out. I tell my kids, I'm like, you just have to learn how to do them. So there's websites. There's like extramath.com. So depending on how your child learns, like I ask all my kids that were here, I'm like, we're going to have to do them. I know they're not fun. I know there's something you don't want to do, but it's something we just have to do because we have to learn them. So I'm like, do you want to write them all out? Would you rather do flashcards, or would you rather do the online? Like there's extramath.org. I think it is extra with X, extramath.com or org. I'm not sure. I'll look it up. You can do like flashcard practice. And so, and time it with the person. I have one that wants to learn like that, and the other ones want to do it on paper. And so just things like that are good. There's also an online school. Like I have some that like doing the bookwork, and so we'll be doing it on paper. I have one that wants to do it online on the computer, and they really want to do it that way. And so there is a website. It's called allinoneHomeschool.com, completely free. After we used her curriculum a long time ago before I did mine, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Because everything's free. It's all online. You get the books, everything you need is online. You just click, it's all there. It's based on that. And I loved her concept. The only thing I didn't like is that we didn't have good internet at the time, and so we always lost, this was before internet was really good. It was dial-up, and so we never had consistent internet. So then I thought I would do this in a book form, and so I started doing my books based off kind of like how she did hers online, doing it that way, just make it a simple curriculum. So I know I have one that's doing that stuff on there. They have great resources. I know Khan Academy is a good one. The all-in-one homeschool.com I like because it's Christian based. You can do whatever you want though, whatever is good for you. So I like that their history is based on Christian, their science based on Christian. They have everything on there. They have, and sometimes it'll be like linked to another website. So they have Spanish on there. Some of the math I know was linked to Khan Academy. Khan Academy is another free online courses. So tons and tons of resources. That's the beautiful, beautiful thing about this internet here. Is there's so many resources on here. I was even looking up. It's called dailygrammar.com, and it's an old, website we used back in the day. It's been years, and it's just a simple English course that it has 440 lessons, and it's so simple. So you just click on it and it's just basic English. They also have a book you can purchase, which is kind of nice too. But you can go on and do your English. It has quizzes on it. It's all free. dailygrammar.com. And go to their archive because it doesn't show like on their main page anymore. But again, another free resource. There's just so much out there you can do to homeschool your child. I think people get so inundated with like, has to do this or they're going to fail, have to do this, have to do that. No, teach them the basics. They got to have math. They got to have some English in there. They got to be able to speak and write properly. And then everything else is just extra. So I know like for us, we did a few things last year where this year we're going to do a little bit more. We're going to do American history and do a timeline with that. We're going to also do some different science things based on videos that they really enjoyed watching this summer. So I thought, well, we'll do some of that, and we'll also have Bible that we'll do some stuff together. And then we also have this series, Jonathan Parks. I completely forgot about Jonathan Parks. It's Jonathan Parks, great series to listen to. We used to listen to the audio CDs. I'd given those away to a friend to be able to use because I always had the app and we could do everything on there. And so just another great resource. There's where they go through the history and the little bit of scientific knowledge with a creation-based interest with it, which is awesome, and just gives you a whole lot more information. So there's just so much that's there that's really, really good. And so it's just the time. I know for me, it's like I'm getting all their ideas right now together, wrote them all out, and then we'll order a few things on Amazon, get our stuff that we need ordered, and then maybe do like little schedules written out for everybody so they know what to do. They're all pretty much self-sufficient because they're all older, which is nice. Less for me, but then we will come together and do our group time. Group time is just the time together, be like a classroom teaching. And it's just more talk about things and learn things together in a group setting, because I find that's very important to do, and do our Bible time together that way. Then we can discuss stuff and talk about things, watch a couple videos, do our history together, and that's a good thing. So you mamas out there that are contemplating whether you should do this or not, you should do this. You should do these things. Don't worry about that whole thing. You have to make them do school for 6 hours a day. No, that's not true. I think there's even a chart online. I don't even know what it is. But it goes through the different grade levels and the amount of time you should do school for your kids. And it's more realistic, because I think when you talk to homeschool, they're like, oh, they do school for 5-6 hours a day at a middle school level. And you're like, I have to think back. I'm like, no, that's actually not how much school they do a day. Some do, but you can get it done in like 2 hours a day. Younger, an hour a day. You think of all the breaks and all the stuff the teacher has to do in a regular classroom. If you just cut that down and just focus on one child, so much less in a day. You can literally sit down and do your stuff in an hour or 2. 3 when they do extra stuff on their own. So like mine, they'll do a lot of reading. They'll do a lot of their own stuff on their separate by themselves, which is really good. But just way less on the time that you actually need to do it. So for moms that work, for moms that are maybe gone, they maybe work a night shift, they work a different schedule. You'd be so surprised. I had so many moms that I've met over the years that, you know, worked a different schedule and worked a night shift, and then they just did their school later in the day with their kids. And I'm like, they did just fine. It's just that good one-on-one time with their kids, and their kids did a lot on their own, you know, during the day when they were at work, and then when they came home, they checked or did a few things, and then just did group things together. And then if you miss something, guess what? It's okay. You can catch up next year. If there's one year you don't do something, like you don't really work on writing very good this year, well, then you know what? Next year you work on writing. Or you find it stressful to work on something, and you're like, they never get it. They never get it. And you're like, feel like it's pressure and stress all the time. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't worry about it. And you know what? Come back to it later. And you'll be surprised at how well they will do, just with a little break in between there. And then I know I was even reading online with a lot of people starting school, because some are already starting now, and frustrated, and kids not sitting down, all those things. And I know for kids, it helps to get them up and get them moving. Go for a walk in the morning, go for a bike ride, go for a swim in the morning, do things to get their body moving, and then come and sit and do things, you know, getting the wiggles out, those things. I know my other kids back in the day, we would do a lot of hands-on activities. We would do a lot of games in that when they were playing their games, or hopping on one foot, or doing this, or run and go get me this, run and go get me, you know, an object that starts with the S sound. This is when they were little. Or we would have them spell, and they'd have to do like hopping on a foot, or just whatever worked for your child. But just if they need to get the wiggles out, sometimes that helps, just to do that, take a break, and then come back. So I know for my own kids, I'm always like, nope, take a break. Don't go veg in your room. Don't go to this. Go outside. Go outside, walk around, go for a walk around the neighborhood. Take Maxine for a walk. Get on the bikes, go riding, go shoot some hoops down at the basketball court. Do a few things in between just to get their mindset changed from like bookwork, and then come back. They can usually study a whole lot better and do well with those breaks. I've always found that with my kids, when they just get frustrated, and I'm like, you know what, just put it down. Put it down. Let's go do something else. Or some days, you know what, some days it's just overwhelming everything, and I say, you know what, let's not do anymore. Let's just stop for the day. We'll pick up tomorrow. And that's fine to do too. Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself more grace. You can do it. You can do these things with your kid. God gave you your children for you, and then you are the one that's going to be able to figure out what they can do and how they learn, and how they learn best. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a genius at things. You can learn together with your child. There's something you don't know. Guess what? This right here, the internet right here, it's got so much information and so much help online. My kids have asked me so many times things, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know that answer. Let's go look it up. And then we'll go research a little bit. And thankfully I have a husband that's very smart on a lot of things, so we'll just sometimes, hey Dad, and he'll explain everything in depth to us. And I know my kids have learned so much more from having a conversation with Dad about sitting outside with the stars and the constellations than we could have ever learned in a month studying it from a textbook. Just because real life, hands-on, seeing those things is always a much better tool to learning than just sitting at a desk and learning from a book. So my recommendation is always finding things that you enjoy doing, your kids enjoy watching. The How It's Made movies, remember those? Like, my kids like watching those. They just like watching them for fun. Well, guess what? We're gonna be learning about those this year. Doing more, making it like, hey, let's pick one and do one. there's so much online. There's so many videos, so many documentaries. There's so many things where you can just learn and your kids can learn and just make it fun. It can make it more exciting than just the humdrum of learning from a textbook. Sometimes science from a textbook is very boring and like, huh, okay. But then watch a DVD and a educational one, a documentary. You can learn so much more from that than just a book. Some people like learning from a book. I have some that do like learning from books. Nothing wrong with that. But just watching and learning, you can learn a whole bunch more. I remember watching America, the Story of Us, the DVD series. I learned so much about American history that I was like, wow, had no idea. Way more than I've ever learned going to school, learning it from a textbook, because it was just put to life in real life. And a lot of just like, wow, I can visually see that I can do these things. And a lot of reality shows. I think I remember watching, there was a reality show for Pioneer Life way back in the day. Way back in the day, older kids would have watched it. And we watched a lot of those episodes and just learned how life was on the Pioneer. And that just made it go, wow. That just puts it more like real and more understandable for a lot of things. So a whole lot here on the internet for you for free these days. Books, libraries, all the tools that you have. So many resources available. Keep it simple. When I have moms that come out with all this stuff, I said, you know what, keep it simple to share. Basics. Just keeping the basics. Teach them the basics. Enjoy being home. And then if you want to do something extra, go ahead and do something extra. You'll learn a whole lot just by adding something fun to the mix. So I'm going to close today's video because I am going to just finish up what I want to do today here and be done and be able to enjoy and visit for the rest of my night. So I hope you enjoyed it. Encourage you, you know what, you can do this. You can do this, mamas. Feel like you can't, you can. Send me an email if you have any questions. I'd love to answer. I'd love to be able to help you along your journey. Got lots of resources on my blog. It's all linked below. plainandnotsoplain.com. Lots of free resources where you don't have to worry about spending any money on things. Just being able to school your kids. That's a good thing. It's kind of like just be able to feed your kids or clothe your kids. You don't have to worry about trying to come up with a lot of money to educate them. You can be able to do it with the stuff that you have right in your home. So, all right, have a fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you again tomorrow with another video. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye.